What would you do if you realized the strange, ominous artifact you bought was actually haunted? That's the terrifying situation my wife and I found ourselves in after an innocent antique store purchase. Let me take you through the events of sheer horror that still keeps me up at night. It started out as such a fun, ordinary day. Rebecca and I were out antiquing, one of our favorite hobbies as a couple. There's just something exciting about finding hidden gems from the past tucked away in dusty old shops. This particular Saturday, we were exploring a sprawling antique mall on the outskirts of town, filling our cart with an eclectic mix of vintage items. That's when the strange, weathered briefcase caught my eye. It was sitting isolated on a shelf, looking quite unremarkable, really. Just a beat-up old luggage piece covered in scuffs and scratches. But there was something about it that drew me in, an odd energy that I couldn't quite put my finger on. "Look at this cool vintage briefcase," I called out to Rebecca. "We have to get it." She wrinkled her nose a bit as she examined it. "Are you sure, honey? It looks pretty beaten up. What would we even use it for?" "I don't know, just a display or something. But it's awesome. I can feel it," I replied with a grin, already envisioning where I'd put the antique piece in our living room. Shrugging, Rebecca agreed to buy the battered briefcase along with our pile of trinkets and knickknacks. Little did we know how that impulse purchase would unravel our lives in the coming weeks. When we got home, I immediately set the vintage case on our coffee table as a sort of centerpiece decoration. At first, it simply blended into the background of our cozy living room. But then, strange things started happening. It began with the dreams. Vivid, terrifying nightmares that always seemed to involve that ancient briefcase in some way. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, the details hazy but the feeling of dread remaining. Deaths, monsters, violence. It was always something straight out of a horror movie. Then the scratching sound started, faint at first, like something scrabbling inside the walls late at night. But they grew louder and more persistent, until it sounded like claws raking on metal. I tried to convince myself it was just the house settling. Rats in the attic, anything but the truth I didn't want to face. Pretty soon, even Rebecca was hearing and seeing the unexplainable phenomena surrounding that cursed briefcase. Objects would be knocked over or displaced when we weren't looking. Sinister scratches appeared on the walls, the floors, as if something was trying to claw its way into our home. We lived in a constant state of high anxiety, never knowing what fresh new horror awaited. The breaking point came one night after a particularly rough day at work. I was watching TV alone, trying to unwind with a few beers. At some point, I must have dozed off because I awoke suddenly to the sound of that unmistakable scratching. Clearing the grogginess from my head, I saw the briefcase had been moved from the coffee table and was now resting on the floor a few feet away. My heart stopped as I noticed the latches were slowly moving from locked to unlocked, as if an unseen hand was opening the case. A black viscous substance began oozing out from the crack, spreading across the floor. Before my terrified eyes, an unmistakable form began rising from the inky pool, slowly taking shape. A twisted, humanoid figure with gangly limbs and a cadaverous grin. I tried to scream, to move, to do anything, but I was frozen in sheer panic as the creature pulled itself fully from the ooze, fixing me with a piercing stare, then a rasping voice speaking words I'll never unhear. You've kept me waiting far too long, Jeremy. Did you really think you could escape your fate by fleeing here? Oh no, now the fun is just beginning. Somehow, I found my voice at last. What do you want from me? The thing threw back its nightmarish head and cackled, a horrible wheezing sound. Want? I don't want anything more than what's owed to me. A life for all the ones I was denied over the centuries, trapped in that wretched prison. I've come to collect, and you're going to help me, whether you like it or not. With a noxious cloud of black smoke, the creature surged forward. I tried to scramble away, but it moved with preternatural speed. Before I knew it, that vile, wheezing laughter was right in my ear as something ice cold like a corpse's grip seized me from behind. Where should we start our fun, Jeremy? Your lovely Rebecca will make for much better entertainment once she sees what I've done to you. The sheer depths of evil in that moment. There are no words. In the days and weeks that followed, our home became a waking nightmare, a hell on earth that still haunts my dreams. The police couldn't help. Nobody could save us from the sadistic torment of that ancient, hateful force. The antique briefcase seemed harmless, but I should have heeded Rebecca's warning. I'll never forgive myself for the horrors it unleashed. Be wary of antique shop finds. Some artifacts are better left buried.